In the ancient wisdom of Buddhism, there exists a profound understanding that consciousness moves through countless lifetimes, weaving through the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth that we call samsara. Like leaves carried by an eternal river, our souls journey through experience after experience, learning, growing, and gradually awakening to deeper truths. But what if I told you that some souls, some precious few, are approaching the end of this long journey? What if your restless heart, your inexplicable yearning for something more, your feeling of being somehow different from those around you? What if these are not burdens, but sacred signs? The Buddha taught us that all beings seek liberation from suffering, from the endless wheel of rebirth. And according to ancient Buddhist wisdom, there are souls walking among us who carry within themselves the quiet knowing that this lifetime, this very incarnation, may be their last dance with earthly existence. These are the souls who have traveled the longest roads, who have experienced the deepest lessons, who have loved and lost and learned across countless lifetimes. They carry within their being an accumulated wisdom, a spiritual gravity that draws them inexorably toward enlightenment, toward the final release from samsara. If you've ever felt like you don't quite belong in this world, if you've ever looked around at the chaos and materialism and wondered why none of it feels quite real, if you've ever experienced a profound homesickness for a place you cannot name, what if your soul is simply ready to go home? Today, we will explore 9 sacred signs that, according to Buddhist teachings, may indicate you are living your final incarnation. These are not signs of ending, but of magnificent beginning. Not signs of loss, but of ultimate liberation. Let us walk this path together, with gentle hearts and open minds. Sign 1. Detachment from materialism and worldly pleasures. First sign whispers to you through your relationship with the material world. You may notice that the things that once excited, anu possessions, achievements, status symbols, now feel hollow, like beautiful shells emptied of their pearl. This is not depression. This is awakening. Where others find joy in accumulating, you find yourself naturally releasing. You look at a crowded shopping mall and feel not desire but a gentle sadness for the seeking you witness there. You understand, perhaps for the first time, what the Buddha meant when he spoke of attachment as the root of suffering. Your soul remembers what truly matters. It has carried treasures across lifetimes, not gold or jewels, but wisdom, compassion, love. These inner treasures cannot be bought, cannot be stolen, cannot decay. And so your spirit naturally turns away from the temporary toward the eternal. You might find yourself giving away possessions that once meant everything to you. You might feel inexplicably peaceful when you lose something that would have devastated you before. This is your soul's ancient wisdom, recognizing that you are not what you own. You are not what you achieve, you simply are. In this detachment, there is profound freedom. You are learning what every awakened being discovers, that happiness comes, not from having more but from needing less. Sign 2. Deep sensitivity to suffering in the world. Your heart has become a vessel, too full of feeling. You watch the news and weep not just for the immediate tragedy, but for the centuries of pain that led to this moment. You see a homeless person and feel their cold in your bones. You witness cruelty and your spirit fractures, as if remembering every lifetime where you yourself were both victim and perpetrator. This overwhelming sensitivity is not weakness. It is the mark of a soul that has experienced deeply, that has developed what Buddhists call great compassion. Your awareness has expanded beyond the boundaries of self. You feel the interconnectedness of all life, not as a philosophy but as a lived reality. You might find yourself unable to watch violent movies, uncomfortable in environments where people speak carelessly of others' pain. You cannot turn away from suffering because your soul recognizes that all suffering is, in some sense, your own suffering. All joy is your joy. All pain is your pain. This is the burden and the blessing of an ancient soul, to carry the emotional wisdom of lifetimes. To feel the full weight of human experience, it can be overwhelming. This openness, this inability to shut your heart away from the world's pain. But understand, this sensitivity is sacred. It is the flowering of countless lifetimes of learning to love. It is your soul's preparation for ultimate compassion, for the boundless love that transcends individual existence. You are not too sensitive. The world is not sensitive enough. Sign 3. A lifelong feeling of not belonging since childhood. You have carried a peculiar homesickness. Not for a place, but for a state of being. Not for a time, but for a dimension of existence that seems just beyond reach. You have always felt like an observer in life's great play, watching from the wings while others perform their roles with apparent conviction. In school, at work, in social gatherings, you smile and participate, but part of you remains forever elsewhere, forever watching, forever wondering. This sense of not belonging is not antisocial behavior, is soul memory. Your spirit remembers realms of pure consciousness, dimensions where love flows, unobstructed states of being, where separation is revealed as illusion. Compared to that infinite home, earthly existence feels like wearing clothes that no longer fit. You might have tried desperately to find your tribe, your place, your purpose in conventional terms. You might have forced yourself into roles and relationships that felt foreign to your deeper nature. But always, that whisper remains. This is not quite right. This is not quite home. The Buddha spoke of enlightened beings as those who walk in the world but are not of the world. You are learning to honor this sacred displacement, to see it not as your failure to adapt, but as your soul's clarity about its true destination. Your homesickness is not for any earthly place. It is for the eternal, for the source from which you came and to which you are finally ready to return. Sign 4. Rejection of conflict and ego-driven. Environment's drama repels you, like oil repels water. Arguments, power struggles, ego competitions, you cannot participate in them without feeling spiritually nauseated. Not because you fear conflict, but because you see through it. Your soul has played every role in the drama of existence. You have been the victor and the victim, the powerful and the powerless, the hero and the villain, through countless lifetimes. You have learned that every ego battle is ultimately meaningless, every victory temporary, every defeat an illusion. When others engage in petty conflicts, you see children playing war games with imaginary weapons. When people fight for status or recognition, you see souls forgetting their true nature. Grasping at shadows while ignoring the light, you might find yourself naturally becoming a peacemaker, not because you learned conflict resolution skills, but because your spirit automatically seeks harmony. You deflect arguments, you refuse to engage in gossip, you walk away from situations that others find energizing. This is not avoidance, this is wisdom. You are operating from a deeper understanding of what truly matters. Your soul has graduated. Beyond the need for ego validation, beyond the illusion that external conflicts can resolve internal questions, in a world obsessed with winning and losing, you embody a third option, transcendence. Your presence alone reminds others that there is a way beyond conflict, a place where all apparent opposites dissolve into unity. Sign 5. A strong spiritual yearning for truth and purpose within you burns a flame that no earthly water can quench. It is the flame of spiritual seeking, of desperate hunger for ultimate truth, for meaning that transcends the temporary dramas of human existence. This is not casual interest in spirituality, this is soul-deep compulsion. You read sacred texts as if searching for a message written specifically for you. You meditate not as a practice, but as a homecoming. You seek teachers not to learn new information, but to remember what you have always known. Your spiritual seeking has an urgency about it, as if you are racing against time, because perhaps you are? Perhaps your soul knows that this lifetime offers the final opportunity to complete its journey, to resolve all remaining karmic debts, to achieve the liberation it has sought across countless incarnations. You might find yourself drawn to multiple spiritual traditions, seeing truth reflected in all sincere paths. Your soul recognizes the universal principles beneath different religious forms. Love, compassion, surrender, awakening. You are no longer seeking a single truth, but the truth that unifies all truths. This spiritual hunger cannot be satisfied by material success, romantic love, or any external achievement. It is the call of your deepest nature, the voice of consciousness itself seeking to remember its own essence. Trust this yearning. Honor this sacred restlessness. It is not leading you away from life, it is leading you toward life's ultimate meaning. Sign 6. Clear perception of karma and personal responsibility. You see the invisible threads that connect all actions to their consequences? When something challenging happens in your life, your first instinct is not to blame others or circumstances, but to look within and ask, what is this teaching me? How have I contributed to this situation? What am I meant to learn? This is not self-blame, this is spiritual maturity. Your soul has lived long enough to observe the perfect justice of the universe, to see how every action creates ripples that eventually return to their source. You understand karma not as punishment, but as education, not as fate, but as opportunity. You might find yourself taking responsibility for things that others would excuse away. You apologize quickly and sincerely. You make amends not because others demand it, but because your spirit cannot rest while carrying unresolved debt to another being. When you witness others suffering, you feel compassion rather than judgment, understanding that everyone is walking their own karmic path, learning their own necessary lessons. When you experience your own challenges, you meet them with acceptance rather than resistance, trusting that your soul has called these experiences for its own growth. This clear perception of karma is a sign of an ancient soul that has observed the cosmic laws across many lifetimes. You have learned that there is no escape from the consequences of our choices, but also no limit to the grace available when we face those consequences with humility and wisdom. You are not afraid of your karma. You embrace it as your final curriculum. For graduation, sign 7. A growing need to serve others with compassion. Something within you compels you toward service. Not service motivated by guilt or obligation, but service that flows naturally from your heart, like water from a spring. You cannot encounter suffering without wanting to alleviate it. You cannot witness need without feeling called to respond. This urge to serve comes not from a sense that you should help others, but from a recognition that there are no others. Your soul has awakened to the truth of interconnectedness, understanding that in serving any being, you serve the whole of existence, including your truest self. You might find yourself naturally gravitating toward helping professions, volunteer, work, or simply being the person others come to when they need comfort. Your presence alone has become healing. Your words carry an inexplicable power to soothe, to inspire, to awaken hope in wounded hearts. This service requires nothing in return because it is not really giving, it is flowing. Like the sun that shines equally on all beings without expecting gratitude, your compassion has become unconditional, impersonal yet infinitely personal. The Buddha taught that the final stages of awakening are marked by spontaneous compassion, by the natural overflow of love that comes when the illusion of separation dissolves. Your growing need to serve is evidence that your heart is preparing for the ultimate service, the liberation that benefits all beings. In giving yourself away, you are finding yourself away. You are finding yourself. In serving others, you are honoring the divine that lives in every form. Sign 8. Awareness of impermanence and surrender to life's flow. You have made peace with the fundamental truth that everything changes, everything passes, everything eventually returns to the source from which it came. This awareness brings not sadness but profound freedom. You no longer cling to good times with desperate fingers, nor do you resist difficult periods with futile struggle. Like a skilled sailor who works with the wind rather than against it, you have learned to navigate life's currents with grace and acceptance. When loved ones age, when seasons change, when phases of life come to natural conclusions, you feel the appropriate emotions but without the added suffering of denial. You understand that impermanence is not life's flaw but its very nature. Not a problem to be solved, but a truth to be embraced. This surrender does not make you passive, it makes you present. You engage fully with whatever life offers, knowing that this very moment is unique and will never come again. You love deeply, understanding that the temporary nature of all relationships makes them more precious, not less. Your soul has observed countless cycles of birth and death, creation and dissolution, joy and sorrow. Through these observations, you have discovered the eternal that underlies all change, the unchanging. Awareness in which all experiences arise and pass away. In surrendering to impermanence, you have found the permanent. In accepting that everything passes, you have touched that which never dies. Sign 9. The absence of fear toward death, a sense of peace and return, perhaps the most profound sign of all. When you contemplate death, you feel not terror but curious, peace, not dread, but something approaching, anticipation. This is not because you wish to escape life, but because your soul recognizes death, not as ending but as homecoming. You have died before many times. Your spirit carries the cellular memory of that sacred transition, the moment when consciousness releases its grip on form and returns to its essential nature. What others fear as the ultimate unknown, you somehow recognize as the ultimately familiar. This peaceful relationship with mortality changes everything. It frees you to live more boldly, love more completely, speak more truthfully. When death holds no sting, life reveals its full sweetness. You might find yourself comfortable in situations that frighten others, not because you are reckless, but because you operate from a different understanding of what death actually means. You see it as transition, not termination, as graduation, not failure, as return, not departure. This absence of death fear is perhaps the clearest sign that your soul has completed its earthly education. The Buddha taught that enlightenment brings the end of all fear, especially the primal fear of death. When consciousness recognizes its own eternal nature, the illusion of death dissolves like mist before the morning sun. Your peaceful relationship with mortality is not morbid, it is liberated. It is the sign of a soul that has remembered its true nature, its indestructible essence, its infinite continuity beyond all forms. If these signs have resonated in the depths of your being, if you have felt recognition stirring in your soul, as we walked this path together, then know this: you are among the blessed ones. You are among those precious souls who carry within themselves the accumulated wisdom of ages, who stand at the threshold of ultimate liberation. You are not nearing the end of your existence, You are nearing the end of your exile. You are not approaching death, but approaching the deathless. You are not concluding your story, but preparing to remember who you were before all stories began. The feelings that have made you different, that have set you apart, that have sometimes made this world feel like an uncomfortable garment. These are not flaws in your design. They are features of your advancement. They are the sacred signatures of a soul that has journeyed far and learned much and is finally ready to go home. Your sensitivity, your compassion, your spiritual hunger, your natural wisdom, these are not burdens to be cured, but gifts to be honored. You are not broken. You are enlightening. You are not lost. You are found. The Buddha spoke of bodhisattvas, enlightened beings who return to help others awaken. Perhaps you are one of these compassionate souls, taking one final incarnation, not for your own learning, but for the benefit of all beings. Perhaps your very presence in this world is service, your very existence a blessing to those still finding their way. That you have found this message, that these words have touched something deep within you, is not accident or coincidence. It is recognition. It is soul memory stirring to consciousness. It is the universe reflecting back to you the truth you have always carried but perhaps forgotten. So if these signs have spoken to your heart, if you have felt the ancient recognition of a soul preparing for its final graduation, I invite you to honor that knowing. Comment below, I felt the signs. Let those words be both declaration and commitment. Declaration of your spiritual identity, commitment to your path of awakening. But remember always, this lifetime, however final it may be in terms of earthly incarnation, is not about racing toward some distant finish line. It is about embodying here, now, in this very moment, the love and wisdom and compassion that you have cultivated across countless lifetimes. Life is not about chasing more experiences, accumulating more possessions, achieving more success. Life is about remembering who you truly are, remembering your essential nature, remembering the love that you are, that you have always been, that you could never stop being, no matter how many forms you have worn or how many stories you have lived out. Your journey through samsara has been long and sometimes difficult, but it has been perfect. Every joy and every sorrow, every victory and every defeat, every love and every loss, all of it has been your curriculum in becoming fully human, fully conscious, fully awake. And now, if these signs speak truly, you are ready for the final lesson. The realization that you have never been separate from the divine source that is your true home. You are not a wave returning to the ocean. You have always been the ocean, playing at being a wave. The path ahead is not long. The journey inward is not distant. Home is not elsewhere. Liberation is not later. It is here. It is now. It is you. Welcome to your final awakening. Welcome home.